My name is Ashley Johnston from the Sholo Public Library, and welcome to our adult DIY today. Today we're going to be making something simple but really cute. If you'll look up here, you can see all of our cute little origami animals, okay? They come in a pretty little color, or you can print them in black and white. These are just demonstrations that a friend of mine made, but today we're going to be making this little guy right here. Cute little otter. It's going to be in black and white because I figured most people would have a black and white printer versus a color. All right, so the company where you'll find this is Canon. So we are going to actually go to creativepark.canon online, which I've got pulled up right here, creativepark.canon. It'll bring you to this page. Then we're going to go over here to paper craft. Now today we're making the animals over here, but you can see that there's a lot of things offered on here. Educational things, collaborative things, realistic crafts. You can make stuff for events. So Canon's really done a lot of stuff here, and it's really, really fun. All right, so let's go into the animals and scroll down here. Now something to be noted is down here you'll see it says pet series or beginner series, or some of them will even say mini series. The mini series are ones like this, really, really little. Okay, you're going to need different tools to make something like this versus making one from the pet series, which is the bigger one, like this. Okay, all right, let's go back to our computer screen and let's find our otter. Here we go. Cute little guy. All right, so at this point, there you go. Here you can see what he looks like with color. Got a little fish in his mouth. Okay, and these you can use with regular printing paper. You don't need anything really special to make these. It's actually nice to have a printer paper because it makes it more malleable. So you'll come over here, you'll want to download the instructions, which has 3 sheets, and then over here you'll download the actual craft. So you do need to download both. So you'll click on it, and it will ask you to sign in, and you can sign in with any of these accounts, or you can create your own. Once you sign in, then it will allow you to click these things right here, and it'll pull up the PDF for you to print. So I've printed my PDFs out, and we'll go ahead and take a look at them so you have an idea of what they'll look like. Okay, so here is our otter printout. Let me see, I'm gonna use a little pencil for a pointer. Okay, so here are some of the tools you're gonna need, right? Scissors or a utility knife, which comes in handy with the smaller mini projects. Glue, you can use a glue stick or wood glue. I've actually found that just using a normal liquid glue from the store is just fine. A ruler, pencil, toothpicks and tweezers. Tweezers come in handy also for the little guys. Today, I'm just going to be using normal scissors right here. Okay, so I'm just making it super simple. Oh, hi, Patricia. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. You can use a regular glue just from the dollar store. Toothpicks, which you probably have hanging around your house. If not, you can get them at Walmart. Okay. And that's all I'm really using for this craft. Now you can get more creative. You could actually, if you only have a black and white printer, you could actually print it on colored paper, which is what my friend did with this one. She printed the pattern on green craft paper. Then she went and took a marker or a pencil and she colored it in on her own. Okay, so that's also optional. So you can do all sorts of things with them. There you go, little guy. All right, so back to our paper here. You have tips for assembly, which I'll talk about as I assemble it, some of them. But then over here you have your symbols and notation area. And this is kind of like the key code for a map. It's going to tell you how to read the instructions once you look at them. Okay, and we'll get to that as we make it. So then right here we have the actual instructions for what you put it down step 1, and it'll have it labeled 2, 3, 4. You're going to go all the way through it. Let me actually show you what the pattern looks like. This is the pattern for our little otter guy. Okay, we've got his face, number 1. Where does his little mouth go? I'm going to move this over. Number 2 here, right? And you'll see it correlates over here, and it shows you where to fold it and what to do. Okay? And then right there's the rest of them. So here's what I like to do. This obviously isn't the only way that you can make the craft, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So you cut these out, which I already did. So we're going to skip that step, and I'll just pull them out here. Here's our little cuts. Okay, and what I like to do to make sure I'm not losing my pieces is there's 8 pieces to this one. I'll just take them and stack it to the side. There's my number 8, number 7, number 6, and so on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now I'm going to start with number 1. Since I've made this before, I'm going to go ahead and just start working on it. So I take my scissors, and I notice, I notice that if I cut towards using this part, I have more control with the scissors than if I try to cut with the end snipping part. So we're going to go ahead and cut here. Slice. Now, some tips and tricks, because it is an intricate craft, you're going to want to, you see how I'm just skimming over that part? I'm not cutting out the flap yet because I find it's harder to maneuver if I try to get the small parts while I'm cutting off the big parts. So we're going to cut up like that. Cut here. There we go. All the way around. Now, if you want a really sharp looking animal or craft, you're going to want to cut right on the line, especially if you've printed it in color, because it's going to be hard to cover that white line when it's all folded together. So and there. Something that you'll find fun with these little guys as you do them, you can watch your shows, right? But you can make fun crafts, especially if you're homeschooling or with kids. You make these crafts and you can turn them into those little, like a jungle, or they have ones for water or different things like that, or fantasy, which is a really fun one for a lot of the kids. All right, so let's go in and let's cut these out. Now let me show you. Maisie, hi Maisie. How are you? That's so fun. Okay, we're gonna cut there. So I like to go in on one side first, then come back out, and then go in again. Instead of trying to turn around, like turn your scissors around in that little crevice, you tend to ruin that fold. In some situations it works, but most of the time, right? Or if you're using the cutting scissors, which, sorry, not the scissors, what is it called? Utility knife, the little utility knife. You're going to want to have a pad under whatever you're doing, cardboard or a cutting pad, in order to use that. That's another way that these little things will become easier to cut out. Okay, so let's go ahead and go up here to this one really quick. We're going to cut out 2 more, and then I'll show you how the gluing works. Boom, there you go. Then you can just go in there and get it out. Same with this one here. Slide it on down. Oops, that one I didn't cut close enough, so I'm going to cut it again because I don't want the white showing through. Okay, set those aside. All right, so here's what we've got. Well, obviously you want to cut all of them out, but I just want to keep showing you how this works. So this little fold here, you're going to fold it back. Here's what I've noticed is that if you take it here using this finger, pulling it back, then you can use your nail your thumbnail here to flip it, and it makes it a little easier to fold. This initial fold wants to be soft, okay? Make it a soft initial fold so that you make sure you get it on the line. Once you've got it on the line, find something. I like to just use a pencil, okay? Something that has a nice edge right here that can really flatten that out for you, because it will be easier to assemble and glue if you have a very crisp fold. So then I just take the pencil and push it out to the side. Okay, and then you're going to be able to see that that's a crisper fold. Let me fold these two down really quick. There we go. And I'll use this as a pointer. You can see right here that this fold isn't very sharp, right? It's just a soft fold. So I'm going to set it down, push it. There's kind of the difference there. You can see that it's a sharper fold, and that'll work a lot better for us. All right, I'm going to do these two. There we go. Fold them down nice and soft, lay it down flat, push it out. All right, so now we're going to move on to the gluing section. So like I said before, you can just use a normal glue from the store. Some prefer, my friend that made these, she prefers to use a glue stick versus this stuff. Now, if you're going to use a liquid glue, what you have to be careful of is not applying too much. Otherwise, the paper gets soggy, and then you can't really work with it very well. So I'm going to take this off and make myself a nice little patch of glue. All right, now here's what I like to do. It's actually a little, hold that down. There we go. So what I like to do is pull up the ends right here with my toothpick so they're ready to use. Dip in the side of the toothpick, and now I'm going to roll it on like this. Just kind of wipe it. Okay, and you can initially do the part that has the glue on it, and then you can work your way down the toothpick to wipe off excess glue. Oops, I also want to do this other side right here. There we go. Now I'm going to fold it together. And what I've noticed is helpful is taking, like if the tab is on this side, take the opposite thumb and to hold it. Because that way you can put your fingernail on the crease. Now if you can see that, my fingernail is in the crease, so it's going to be nice and sharp and crisp. All right, that one's there. Now I'm folding this one down, putting my fingernail in it. Now what I've noticed is, depending on how much glue you have on there, between 10 to 15 seconds will do the job. We'll get it sealed on there. And obviously if you don't get it, you'll know because it'll fall apart. All right, so there you go. We've got the eye, his left eye, nice and done. Now we're just gonna go ahead and do these two. I'm gonna flip it up. Something else I've noticed is that if you put the glue on there and you let it get a little exposure to the air before you glue it on to the other paper, it sticks a little better. It gets kind of tacky. All right, let's fold it over. And your biggest job here is just to make sure that your lines are lining up, okay, that we're getting this line all flat and even. Oh, there we go. Hold it. Good. And I already put some glue there, so I'm just going to fold this one under and hold it. There we go. All right, you can see how it's starting to take shape, right? This part of the face is already starting to look a little more round like a head. So we're going to set that aside. Now what you'll do is you'll cut it out and do that with the remainder of the pieces following the instructions. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and assembled all the major parts, because that part's smaller and tedious, right? You can see I finished the head here, starting to look a little bit more like an otter. Let's just go ahead and assemble this part, because I think that's actually fun when you see the whole thing actually come together. So initially you take the head, and I might have to pull out my instructions again for this. Okay, I got the head and the mouth together, and now I need to put this belly on. Now these flaps were folded the other way. Let's see. Make sure 1 and 2. So what I like to do is put it in and make sure I'm actually getting it in the right place, the right part. 1, 2. Oh, I need to assemble these ones first. Right? Yes. Okay, good. All right, now you'll see that this color is a little bit different here. That just slips under. That part's not actually glued, okay? If it has a dot on it, then you're gonna put glue on it. So I'm gonna take these 2 little flaps here, put glue on them. 1 there. All right, and make sure the belly is down and put that flap in the side there. See, it just slips in really nice right there. And then I have this finger under where I will hold it. Give it about 15 to 20 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and maneuver this in while I'm waiting and slip this guy in. Okay, that side's good. I'm gonna flip. Finish getting this one in there. There we go. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put on the little head. Oop. Okay, don't get it too wet. Now you don't have to do both sides at the same time, especially when I did my first one. I just did 1 flap at a time because I kept messing it up. So just, you can take it easy. So I'm holding the back. 20. There we go. Put my finger up inside there. Push it together. There you go. Oops. Okay. Look, guys, it's starting to look like an otter. There we go, with his little friend over there. Okay, let's go ahead and put on the body portion. Now, this body I haven't finished assembling. These flaps down here, you'll find they're not ones that are visible, but they're structural. So it's important that you get them glued well and folded well. There we go. 2. Whoop. All right. Okay. Now again, you can see right here, this is where it goes. Now obviously I know this because I looked at the instructions, but you'll refer to the instructions. You can fit it on to make sure it fits well. Then go back and place your glue. 1, 2, 3. Paint it on. Just a very thin layer. There we go. And you'll hold it. Rotating it around. Oh, don't fall apart, little guy. There we go. Okay. All right. We've got the body done. Okay, here's the last part. Now, I've already pre-folded these, right? So you're just gonna unfold them. Having them pre-folded is a big deal. So make sure that you go through and fold everything before you start to glue it. There we go. Glue on both sides. Put it in and make sure you see this part is not the same color as the rest. That needs to be covered by some other paper. So make sure it's all the way up. There we go. And so this is why having paper that's a little more malleable versus like really hard paper, because this has to be curved and folded and put in. So you don't want something that's totally flimsy, but not something that's really hard. And it's interesting because you look at it and you go, I can't believe that's made of paper. And it's not like, but it is pretty sturdy with the folding and the gluing. It can become really sturdy. All right. So guys, there's this little person's otter friend, and I've already done the fish over here. So now we can give him a little fish because he's got a hole in his mouth. Okay. Now you'll notice the difference in color. I went ahead and used my printer at home. It doesn't have as good of a color here, right? You can see the ink didn't do as good of a job. This one I printed out here at the library, and it's got a nicer sheen and stuff. So depending on if you're doing this for fun, something like this will be fine. If you want to put it on display, you'll want to get a nicer printer. You can always come to the Show Low Public Library to print these out in color as well as in black and white. But guys, that is it. And I hope you have a lot of fun doing this craft with your friends or your kids or your classes. It's really fun and simple and free. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.